Hello, everyone. I'm Alan Dix. I think some of you know me already. I come from Swansea University and I'm direct the computational foundry there. Um, I'm really sorry not to actually be, well, how much virtually to be there, at least live with you today. I've got another workshop at the same time that I'm chairing that was organised quite a while back, so I'm afraid I can't bow out of that. However, I did want to just say a few words, and I've been given the opportunity to contribute this video. So I'm really glad to be part, at least in this way, of the events today. First of all, a few words about my own interests and why it interests me so much. I've done work at the edge between HCI and AI for a lot of years. Back in 1992, and in fact the work was earlier than that, so the writing 1992, so nearly 30 years ago, I wrote what I think is the first paper, certainly within the HCI literature, possibly at all, on the dangers of gender and ethnic bias in black box machine learning systems. It was evident that far back. I was also done work on intelligent interfaces, including a dot-com startup back in the late 1990s, 1998, 1999, and also, should we say, more pure AI work, including doing genetic algorithms for early submarine design. Recently also, I'm one of the part of the organising or the co-investigators for a network in the UK called Not Equal, which is all about the digital economy and social justice. And I'm leading up the algorithmic social justice arm, which of course these issues of AI and how they impact people is central to that. Over the years, there's been a number of touchstone phrases that I've used when I've been thinking about this intersection area. One of them is alien intelligence. And this is, there's obviously strong AI that says we want to create AI that's just like a human. Often I found it much more useful to think about this intelligence, being intelligent, but in a very different way. And it helps often to explain things to people, but also to realise the more, should we say, symbiotic, if that's not a contradiction in words, but symbiotic relationships that we can build between people and computers. Another phrase I found useful, again over the years, including way back in those dot-com years, is appropriate intelligence. If you look at AI on its own, at the algorithm on its own, one tends to think about trying to maximise how can we make sure that it's correct as much as possible or does as good a job as possible. But when we think about fitting within a socio-technical framework, within interactions with people, we sometimes can see different ways of designing algorithms that work better with people. An example of that is often, rather than having maximum accuracy, we might want failure to be soft. The classic examples, and you probably have to be a bit older to remember Clippy and Microsoft, but Clippy used to jump up in the middle of you typing a document in Microsoft and say, "Oh, I think I've got some bright ideas of what you can do." And sometimes they were, but if they weren't, it had interrupted you. Whereas the thing which does exist now, because they got it right, is the sum button in Excel. Anybody who's used that, you press the sum button, it guesses what you might want to add up. But if it's wrong, it's not too difficult to fix it. And that issue about having things that may be wrong more often, but when they're wrong, they're wrong in ways which don't cause you trouble as a human. And there are lots of other things within this sort of area. More recently, these two sort of come together in a way, in particularly thinking about explanations in AI. And another phrase I've used quite a lot recently is sufficient reason. Now, this is a phrase that's actually used in other contexts as well for different things. But when I'm using it, what I'm thinking about is the fact that when we as humans explain our actions to one another, justify things, trust each other to make decisions, we do not necessarily fully understand everything that's going on in each other's heads. And yet we can come to understandings. We can work together. We can trust each other's decision makings. So it's trying to understand what those human aspects are of working together, trusting one another and explaining, and then asking, can we have a similar level in a different way with computers? So as I said, a little bit about some of my sort of more personal background in these sort of areas. And now I just want to get on to one of the reasons why this workshop was really relevant to me when I first heard about it. So many years ago, about 25 years ago, Janet Finney and I wrote this small textbook in AI, and there were a lot of big sort of Bible-sized tomes at the time, but they're just relatively small. It was focused particularly at things like conversion master students, but it's an introductory textbook, technical, but not off-putting. And recently, around Christmas time, I agreed to do a fresh edition of this. And as part of that, I also negotiated the first edition as an electronic version is available free from the publishers. So one is, if you want a free textbook to use, that's available at the moment, but also I'm updating it. And as part of that update, some of it's to do with the changes in AI, but also as part of that process, I want to thread much more fully that sort of human context of algorithms and how they fit into society. So it's going to have things like case studies, there's some ethics will go into there, issues of human-like computing, bits of intelligent interfaces, explainability. So I've got a sort of list of things, but one of the things I'm really hoping I'll find from some of the outcomes of this workshop is the things I've missed, the things I've not thought about that perhaps I should be thinking about. And the other thing, which is that me making an offer to you all is I said, this first edition of this is free, so it'll be available. So if you've got courses, it might be useful to that. But also over this coming summer into the autumn, I will be doing the new material for the second edition, but also making lots of online things ready for that. So if there are topics that you're thinking, I wish there were some better resources for that, if you give me a kick, I'm not going to make promises, but might help me prioritise it and think, oh yes, perhaps I should do something on that. So that's HCI targeting somebody learning AI. So effectively, what are the sort of human kind of things that would go in if you're teaching an AI course but want a bit of human in. The other side to that, as the same time, and I agreed to do this, they said, oh, and we've got this new series, AI for Everything. How do you fancy doing an AI for HCI? So I am going to do this as well. So I will be doing a book on much shorter book on AI for HCI, so for people in HCI, for professionals, and also for academics. And I've been starting to think a bit about this, and again, this might help some of you, and also I would really like to hear some of the things back from you. So this is my sort of diagram at the moment, and there's the on the left-hand side, there's sort of HCI and how AI can help that. The right-hand side is more how HCI can help AI. And at sort of top, it's more, should we say, the human facing. At the bottom, it's more the under the girding. So you've got things like intelligent interfaces. On the bottom left there, the way in which big data is being used in evaluation. But then also you've got questions like where AI is in systems, such as, in autonomous vehicles, what are the sort of challenges that gives to us as HCI people? And then on the bottom right, AI developers, how do we help them? How do we help them in their algorithmics? What's the interfaces which make that better? And particularly, of course, what are the interfaces that will make them better at designing systems for people? And then crucially, this is all within a framework that says nowadays, both AI and humans come into every aspect of computing. We can't separate ourselves off as separate disciplines anymore. There's not like a little overlap anymore. Both as HCI people and as AI people, we undergird every facet of digital society. So we have to put this into big frameworks of social justice, of ethics, and of governance. And I think I'm nearly at 10 minutes, which is what I said I'd do as a maximum. I just hope you have a fantastic workshop, and I'm really, really looking forward to what I'll hear about it. So bye for now from me.